Hi guys, this is Carden from Everest. I'm doing this video on the Abomination Wing in Naxxramas to help the tanks on especially the trash mobs here. Throughout this video, I'll try to explain the placements of all the trash and what to mark, and also when to use the cons, especially the free action potions, which are quite important in the early stages of this wing. I'll do some other videos on this, and maybe I'll also do some videos on the actual bosses, but for now this is a video on the trash to speed up the raids and help the overall efficiency of the raids. So let's get going. So for all packs in Naxxramas, it's quite important that you assign tanks to have a mark each. They should have these marks throughout the whole raid, preferably, but sometimes on bosses you need to change things. I do recommend using the add-on tank assignments for this, and I'll try to make sure to link it in the description. These first 4 packs also require that you use free action potions. The reason for this is that they do a really nasty stun that will fuck up everyone unless you do the pull right. You have 4 marks and you need to place them correctly. So for the pull here, we have 2 tanks in the opening of the door, like on the right and left side, and then further out on the right side, I'll pull the moon, as you'll see here, and vice versa, the skull will be pulled to the opposite left side. So you need to spread them quite a bit in the room where we start. And then you'll notice here that when we pull, we use the free action potion, and it's quite important that you use the free action potions on the right times here, because they do have a 2-minute cooldown. So as you see here, I pull the moon and I place it over to the right. And then if you look in the background, you'll see, I think it is semi in the opening, and then you have cross on the opposite side and the skull. So that means that the melees can move in and out and use their own free action potions so that they won't get fucked. Alright, the first 4 packs being done. Then we have the next room where we have 2 patrols. You'll see one with the star and the other one leaving the room right now. So one of them actually does leave the room. And then we have the 4 blobs after that. I can recommend that you put like a star, as we've done here, on the patrols so that you can always keep an eye out on where they are. And as you'll see here, Sam will just pull the first one and just take it in the center of the room. It's not much to this first one, so it's quite easy. But then after that, we have the blobs. And I'm putting the marks here again with the skull, cross, square, and moon. And what we always do is we take square and moon to the right side, stack them, and then you have skull and cross to the left side and stack them. The stacking is, of course, so that melees will be able to do most damage, but you don't want to stack all 4 of them because they do a lot of AoE damage. Next, we have another patrol, again marked with stars so you can keep a track on it. It's again just pulled to the center of the room, but face it away always so that you're sure that the melees won't take unnecessary damage for it. Okay, next in this room you pull the 3 mob pack to the left. You have 1 battle reacher marked with skull, and then the other 2 are marked with cross and square. You pull and use free action potion again. It should be ready by now. And again, the placement is cross to the left, skull in the middle, and square to the right. After that, we enter the room on the left side, and as you can see, Sam is jumping here, getting ready to pull the first patrol. You should get that first depending on what makes most sense, but it's always nice not to get surprises, so we get it first here, and it's again just turn it away and kill it. Then, because our timing was a bit off and we didn't manage to put a bigwigs timer, we get the 4 blobs again. And you'll see here that it's quite important for tanks to be alert on these things and quickly pick one up, put your own mark on it, and then stack them 2 and 2 again. It's a bit messy here, but you should definitely try to make sure that you get them stacked 2 and 2. The same way that you did before with skull and cross on the same side, and then square and moon on the other side. And then with a bit more distance than we have here because again the AoE damage is a bit tough. So this could have been cleaner, but it's a good way to show how tanks needs to be very alert. And I definitely recommend using key bindings for your marks. Personally, I use the numpad, so I just have number 1 to 8 to mark the things, and you can just set that in your options in key bindings. So press escape and set the key bindings. It makes it a lot easier to mark rather than having to right click every target. Next we have 3 more, another bile reacher and 2 golems, but this time we do not use free action potions because we want to make sure that the timer is ready for the next 4 packs, which are on the left side of where we're looking right now. So you place it basically the same way that they're already standing. The skull goes a little bit closer to the whole raid, whereas square and cross are just placed a bit further away. Melee should never go into these two because we're not using free action potion and it'll pretty much get fucked. And as an off tank, you just want to be ready in the raid to pick up in case anyone loses aggro. So other than that, you don't do anything. Next we have another pack with 4 golems. Again, this time you use the free action potion, and that is actually why you keep you don't use it on the previous pack, so that you're sure that you can use it. And you basically just stand in front of it as we're doing right now. And then you pull with your crossbow. And again, always place it away. Next, we're on the left side, trying to enter the next room. And of course, we have the AoE pulls by the casters, which are running around kiting all of these blobs. So they're using all their shit. And then once they're clear all these blobs, we run in and tank and spank the mob that is in there. In the room after that, we have 3 packs that needs to be tanked in front of the raid. You always face them away, and as you can see here, we're about to pull the second one. The first one is already dead and lying here on the right side. And you want to pull them when they're quite close to the raid because there's a chance that they will bring some of the other packs in here. Having killed the last patrol, you have to pull the pack of 4 golems here in the back. And again, you need to use your free action potion. The placement is also quite important, so you will have to notice how skull, cross, and square are moved on a line. And then I take moon here to this spot. So when you look at it now, you will start with skull, like further closest to the raid, of course still facing away. Then they take the cross and the squares up on the corner, and then I have the moon here, so you make kind of like a square in the way that you place them. Also, so melees can run in and out easily. Next we have the totem packs, and I'm changing my marks here because casters will nuke the skull, so no one needs to pick it up because they are likely to kill it with their timed cast. Instead, we change the marks so that 5 tanks are available to pick up the scientists here. So I start, of course, marking the big fucker with skull, and then the other scientists are marked with cross, square, star, moon, and triangle. And then those are the ones that we mainly pick up, but you should also try to pick up the smaller ones if you can. And one important thing here is to start with an intercept. If you start with an intercept, you have one more way of interrupting the scientists, and you will also need to use your concussion blow and your shield bash for this. And you should just watch their hands when they start to glow for like a heal, and that's what you want to interrupt. And then it's basically just to repeat this with each pack up until patchwork. So I'm only going to show this one pack for you to understand how the mechanics work. Next, we skip a bit ahead to the rest of the packs after patchwork and the blobs that follow where you have to navigate through them. And then we're in the room with Grobolus here, and you have 2 tanks for skull and 2 tanks for cross here, because you want to make sure that there's always a backup tank being really quick to pick up the mob once the main tank loses aggro. And basically what you do is you just watch the target of target, and once it's not the tank that is tanking, you taunt. Then basically you repeat the process again with the next two marks, which are then again marked with skull and cross. And pay a bit attention here to where I'm standing as an off tank. So whenever Gorgeous has it, I'm just basically between the legs, kissing the ass of this stupid big golem. That's the proper position. Alright, after this you have three mobs, and they work the same way. So you have skull, cross, and square. And again, you need two tanks for each. So quite often you will need a fury to help you a little bit here as an off tank. So ask some furies to equip their shield and then be off tank on, for instance, the skull, so that they can change to DPS faster. And then if you have another fury you need, you can put him as an off tank on cross as well. But mainly your tanks should be the one that pull and do the main tanking of these three mobs. And you want two tanks on each again, so quite often you will have a fury off tanking because you don't have enough tanks at this point. Often it's best to have one of the fury off tanks on skull so that he or she can go DPS right after.